There was another interruption caused by them on this phone. I can testify the phone turned on later, all the way to the point of starting the camera, starting the audio, starting the camera. They stopped the audio before the camera because theoretically at 1%, right? And then I go back to the audio and I start it again. When I go back to the camera, they shut down, screenshots throughout, including the shutdown screen, because you know how the operation of the system is when you have the shutdown screen. And then the next time, it takes a very long time in the dark in black screen, right before it shows the message of no battery. Not right away, as it would if the phone was shut down, but very long time, and then it shows up. As I was pointing to you, the baby didn't eat his food. That's the point where they shut it down. Again, everything that I said is showing the same audio recording on this phone. We're going to listen to this audio recording in a minute to make sure it's fine, and if it's not fine, I'm going to take measures to circumvent that. As for that, again, those are the criminals expecting to listen to them. And my proposition is that they put something on their food that the baby you saw literally clawing there through the thing would prefer to stay hungry than to eat his food. And those are the criminals. Now, the interruptions could only come from this place and that place. As I proposed to you before, there's nobody else around. So we talk about employees on both places, which represent the company, which means the companies. I don't have the means of searching more than that. As you get to see, there is nobody else. There was. Now I also have this criminal. But up to this point, there is nobody else around that you get to see. Okay? So, and it seems to be one of the two. This one in particular. So there's that. But the animals thing is pretty straightforward. Prefer to stay hungry than to eat the food you saw them eating every other day until recently. And then the same day, when he started rushing to me for food twice, including one time as I was documenting something here, and all of a sudden they're coming towards me to eat the nail from the sewing kit or something like that, right? And all of this now employing drugs or off the drugs on me. I fell under drugs on me and narcotics on me several times, coming both from the back and from the front. So we have criminals on both, for sure. Although to be fair, could be one theoretically. So I'm gonna be able to tell you. But that's it. I don't know what else to say. Should have been missing there. That was missing since early in the first video they interrupted. Again, from one of those places. And because keep in mind, interruptions kept going the same way, even with no SIM card, which means it couldn't be done from far away, it had to be done locally. If it was done from far away, the one time, I think at least one time it happened, guaranteed with the SIM card off, it wouldn't be possible, right? So, as I said, no SIM cards, no connectivity whatsoever, and straight up shutdowns. So, that's what you get to see. Nothing else. That's about it. Everything's documented. Something was destroyed on there. But as I was saying, even if something was destroyed on there, the shutdowns on this phone were done digitally now. It just means that you might have the crime, the assault on MNI, which might be the reason why this is not here. You mentioned something last or something. I was thinking more about yesterday. I didn't know about this. But I can guarantee you that it was on that day. And although you can see also the intention to thief, because at first glance you'd think it happened last night, right? And it is possible. Again, those 14 hours are going to let you know if it was something happening this night. But my assumption is that it happened on that night, and they just didn't check for that, yeah. There you go. But because everything is safe already, it works on the cards. I don't see how that would stop me, even if that was the only card that I have, card reader that I have. I mentioned that in case that they tamper with that one as well, and honestly, the idea would be for me to do that in secret. But the sheer amount of narcotics that they throw on me every time I get inside there, even when I'm most of the time I'm recording audio, most of the time everything else is closed, it's only the food, and then just they pick up the food individually, as you just can see inside now. I don't even need to say anything else. More power to them. What they think they are, the actual non-criminals are gonna believe. I actually want them to make the accusation and make it seem to be easy. Someone is talking to fire. You saw that? There's a snap on the power line. Also got those fucking vehicles there that clipped first. Yeah, I was concerned of getting in front of me. The power line is snapping, it's a big deal. Although, given that they throw gas, they're throwing gas around here, particularly the times when they're just releasing natural gas in the air, as if it's no problem, or burning down toxic products there with no care for what people breathe whatsoever. Again, I imagine this is a place where actual firemen are going to have a heart attack just of knowing what things. And those things might even seen as a problem. As a matter of fact, one of the best ways to see what the problem really is you don't see anything as a problem. Not diving on that, focusing on the crime. So they said this, we're looking for the cars, and the tampering, as I was saying, they put something on the cat's food, which happened. This happened recently, because you saw how they are doing. I'm going to start to relay that in the other videos. They saw the baby literally clawing for dear life here, and then they stopped the video. Again, the phone stayed at 1% the entire night. The phone has been connected to charge all the way to 5% in the morning. And right now you saw it draining instantaneously. Also, as I said, you saw it clawing through this for dear life to eat the food, Chip's food, because I cannot afford this food for them. This food is $20 for 900 grams, and that one is $8 for a kilo. I cannot pay more than double. I simply cannot. So, and it doesn't matter, because if you saw, they're eating their food, they ate the other package as a whole, and they're eating this food with no issues. Until recently, when all of a sudden the baby and Chip prefer to stay hungry than to eat their food. And I'm going to bring the baby here again to see if once again they're going to interrupt this, because they do, there's a count on this, how many times they did. Every time that they did, I said it. So I can count how many times in total they interrupted this video, or videos in this phone. And come, baby, come. Also because I smell some weird smell, like poop, at night twice when he showed up. And as I said, I'm keeping a close eye on him. And if he's getting sick because of this food, it would make sense that Chip's getting sick as well. And I'll lay that very clear to you. There's nothing else I can say. You saw in the previous video how hungry he was. You saw how he was rushing to get the food he needed. And you saw me pushing away. Just to... And this is the one coming from here. This is not the one that was exposed here in the open. This is not the one that could have been tainted by them. This is the one that I rolled up in a pocket package, because you notice one thing that I kept noticing as well, the reason I started doing that, I didn't mention about putting it up here in front instead in the back. I didn't do that then, because what else you would have telepathically know that I was doing that and coming here to create a problem with the cat being there. Even though that I don't know how the package of cat food hidden over there is going to be much better than this, but much worse than this. But for whatever, but you know you will be if you're this point. And I wanted to be here because it's visible not only from the cameras but anyone passing in front if they try to do something to it. Because I noticed every day they arrive is half open. Not eaten, not cut, but half open. The other one was cut. And cats don't half open something. The other cats that would do that are too big to go inside, and doesn't give them any benefit to just half open the thing, right? And my view was some criminal trying to use that as an excuse to say there was rain or there was something else going in. And I kept noticing it. I didn't want to mention it until I have some solid proof. But since I don't know if solid proof is going to come, because again, you see them just scavenging through some random fuck of paper with insects instead of eating their food. Don't know what else to say. Visually speaking, it's normal. It's just food. It smells normal and it looks normal. And if I was offering both, I would get it. They prefer the other one, right? That's the reason I bought that for chip in the first place. That's not a big deal. The big deal is that he'll prefer to stay hungry than to eat that one. That is what the big deal is. So, because of that. Focus on the water to roll down as easy as possible and not be accumulating. So again, I take all the precautions, and every time I come back, usually drug abuse, rushing to do some other crime, something different is there. Which is why I prefer to leave down there in a place it's gonna be shoved better later, where anyone can see. Because again, nobody would come to a random place. No reasonable person would ever show up in a random place, find some cat food, put something inside, and then leave. Right? Also, no random person is gonna show up in a random place where and try to do some harm to them. So again, as I said, most of those things are clear, and most importantly, that's vision from here. And I'm gonna shove that better, so you cannot see. Well, you can see someone standing there, you cannot see the package. From here, this is what it looks. Now explain to me how that's more visible than the other things in the back, right? And again, it's gonna be hidden better. So just so you have some quick perspective. And you look at the victims, again, most of the victims of the crimes, they're grooming each other. The final thing to show, just well, we cannot. That's the thing, we cannot. I would love to show them eating this much more now. They don't even add all that much as evidence because they just say that they prefer this one, which is not true because she preferred. And they're the victims of this crime, in particular, right? Again, I didn't even notice. Most of the time, I'm dealing with other things. We noticed yesterday how the person that mentioned something about food. I don't want to push too much on that one because it was a logical assumption, you know. Although to be fair, every animal that I ever had would react the same way inside the place that's surrounded by food. Even though they always had food in the bowl. Never believed on feeding the animal once a day. I always left my dog, for instance, always had food in the bowl the entire day. But since he was a puppy, so he kind of got used to that, so he just eats whenever he wants. But the issue is, that's why I do that here. That's why you see that whenever you look at them, they have food in the bowl, and that's not a big deal to me. Because it's the way that I always imagine it to be. And two, so much so that you have a bunch of other cats showing up to eat. Some of those pretty beefy, pretty big. I hardly think that they are the male cat that keeps showing up. The other ones are a bit more funny, but the male cat that keeps showing up, I hardly think that he is ever struggling for not getting food wherever he lives. He doesn't live here. Baby lives here, Mama Kay lives here. The other cat was living here, or actually they took her from here. And the other one, the male cat doesn't live here. He lives elsewhere, and he's clearly well fed. So, just leaving to you that whatever happened recently was done so he keeps showing up here for no reason. At the same day, a couple of days after, they kidnapped Chip's mom. So again, you pay close attention to what they did to them. Right? Let's move on. And now the criminals clapping to you. Just not a crime. It's not. You listen to it. Always a perfect. Found it. I was going to actually look for it. To see, I get down here, and then I look and I try to shove up the thing again, and I'm thinking just how hard it's gonna be to have to lift up that because it's buckled down there on Chip's house. And then I see the red stuff here, the plants, and then I move it out of the way and I pick it up. Because I'm not alone. Yeah. So criminals might have the plans, but they're not the only ones with plans that eventually very pro as you keep them. Except that the Lord doesn't many instances. But I'm more concerned about I'm far more concerned about the Lord than I'm concerned about Christian share. And again, I don't want to mention the name of the Lord with such, insane phrases. Yeah, but to be fair, I also see the pointlessness of this. Well, you think it's better more to the Lord to be mentioned the same way as war criminals or in the same way as a bad word. Bad word doesn't hurt anyone. Not really. Again, as I said, actually, people hurt people. No, they might use words for that, but I'm saying is, saying a random bad word, like nigger, like that, is not a problem. I mean, insult someone with those words. You may try to use those words to attack someone or a group of people. That's different. Very different. When you say that if you don't have the right matching race, you cannot say the word. Yeah. That is so little to me. I was just thinking the other day, technically, when I move to another country, it might be. In this country, I always consider myself white because, it's, well, bad people know, basically. But realizing other countries I might be considered brown or other things. And I imagine me making a joke about that at some point, and I couldn't care less. It's just not a fact. And it's just such almost amusing to me how much those factors seem to influence. You know what? This helps characterize what this spot is coming from, and I don't think that that's really me. Instead, I think it's just something else. As I said, the crimes are documented, the rest is documented. A lot of ants. This version of those ants, mind you, as well. It's important. Again, keep that in mind, and this in mind, and there's also that in mind. And also, it's such a dumb place for them to be. I get it, they want to stay together, and I get that this is what it looks inside, so that's why they're there. And that's my fault, which, or at least I would say, not just mine. And you can see that the crime is very contextual. But in a sense, there, other than the gagging, right? I just started interrupting that almost sillily every single time. Where's the other phone? Every single time. Oh yeah, final thing, I want to interrupt this. How could I forget this? It's pretty important. So 15 hours, 10 minutes, 20 seconds. Now it is 10:49 on the 16th of May, 2026. The Saturday, Jelson's not here yet. Somehow, apparently it's not. What? No, it's 9:49. What? Oh, it's 9:49. I think it was saying it was 10 a.m. at some point. 15 hours, 10 minutes, 47 seconds. We need to check that. I just shut down that phone. That's it. Okay. I started this in the bakery yesterday before leaving. Why, you thought you had to listen to that later? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that that's what person should expect. Just want to point out how close together they have become. Just want to point it out. If they had not found nothing on me, the thing would be waiting because the check was amazing. So 1340 is going to be a 1 hour and 1.5, right? Yeah. 1 hour and a half recording, either in video probably, of everything that I just said. So you got to listen to it. Beautiful today, just playing with each other. She found her own tail. She doesn't know what her tail is. I'm gonna give them the other food. I don't care. Come, baby, come. We'll figure it out later, as we've done all those days. Looking so good. Taking care of each other. I want to do more there. Especially him, who's taking care of her. She's small. She needs someone to teach her to be a cat. They might have this a little bit emotionally attached, but very good teacher. Smell of shit. Look at them. Chip, come on. Chip, come on. It's good for you. Yeah. That's the food that I chose. I went back to that supermarket. I chose this one brand specifically because the sorry they choose for the entire other package. It's even here somewhere. The package itself, I think it's in the bag. Yeah, I think I pulled it from the front. Maybe it is out in the trash. They ate the smaller one first, then they ate the entire 5 kilo package with all the other cats. But yeah, it's not here anymore. Although this apparently was an East House thing that that's the ghost. Yeah, and you see how inconceivable it was, the thing there with the food. There was even something inside the bar. Having water. No, I think most of it is trash. Yeah. Also gonna see over there, just to get the plates for you. Oh yeah, notice how we kept coming here periodically? There was no vehicle here before, which means that the interference is not that was done by any of this. AFL 8522. True, 27.7, but it looked to me like true, and I couldn't get a good look after. So, and in fact, I was pointing that to you straight up. See what you think? I don't even know what the point, much the point there is. It's not about the drugs. The drugs, first off, you see them coming the way, and secondly, even if you're going to be coming from that position, it doesn't add up. How you doing, baby? Hey, poopy. Strong, how big and strong he looks. Again, I'm very proud of him. Especially the way you saw him taking care of his sister. And cats don't do that. He's not his biological sister. That's his adopted sister through her mom. Goes to show, you know. Don't often you see in this crime good karma, but then you see good karma and the importance of good karma. That's the way it goes, because I don't know if she was feeling there is something that is being done to her. We know that sometimes I have those bad feelings. I cannot speak for cats, but she chose to adopt him, and well, see what she says. Now, me on the other hand, she didn't eat anything yet. They're already in the second meal of the day, not counting the one they did during the night. There's a lot of food spread out inside the crate. I imagine they're the ones eating it. Don't know if it was. Over there in the bakery, I don't know if it was something that was done after I left the thing there. I noticed there's a lot of food inside here. Don't know what happened to that food. It fell down. Some of it did. A lot of it is. Oh yeah, no. Only in a good world would it be eaten by them. First out to the other block. If I don't pick it up, they will have nothing to eat. Sooner rather than later. So once again, let's start doing your tour. And then find it out one by one to put in the bag for them. No, don't see the fact that the cat was on the other side. That's very sparse. But it's sure a lot more than I was expecting it would have. That's why I noticed the bakery. That noise you keep hearing is just outside. They threw something on the ground. I don't know what it is. Keep that in mind. 11%. What the gas? Now, all of this that you're seeing would have been premeditated. Everything that you see would have been planned ahead of time and coordinated with criminals. Just because they suck at it, because they took a life, doesn't mean that the intention wasn't to have far-reaching effects. As I keep mentioning all the time, don't base your conclusions on the ultimate result based on the intended result, which you can conclude through the choices mostly. So a lot of food here. Imagine if it rained. It was raining yesterday, but I covered everything up. Now imagine if it was raining more. Now keep in mind, you say, well, what's the far-reaching plan? The far-reaching plan probably should solve me on a Sunday again, between Sunday to, or between tomorrow to Monday. And this is done today, so I can back things up and get things safe before. Plain and simple. And because again, the crimes are well premeditated, they like not to innovate too much. To be fair, with the premeditated crimes, you see how well the team succeed. In terms of the fact that they fail at all with the level of control and the level of abuse and the level of things that they're willing to do, it's truly shocking. I mean, they're literally drugging a victim while committing crimes in front of cameras, no regards to the police, and nothing else. I mean, you would imagine what is even the bottleneck is essentially like God mode, right? Well, there's only one God, and I don't think that they're particularly happy about the way the things are going. That was supposed to be Captain America, there's only one God, ma'am, which is such a cool thing for you to see. I hardly see it's very Disney-like these days, but you know, it's not like it's completely wrong joke. Just make type of jokes about something a living person. Since the problem doesn't tackle any of those, it's okay. I'm just mentioning the Hindus probably feel pretty slick right then and there. Don't know. That's another thing that I've been noticing. Certain types of commentaries on me, and notice that I always immediately notice that. That's how alien and how weird it feels to me. Make from that what you will. Those are ants, by the way. Those are flies, but those are ants. And these ones with the white butt, see the white butt that? They're the ones that they are very sticky. They're the ones that are problematic. I think they're not even from here, they're in the back. And again, ants don't function like that. Ants don't just remove a couple of them and they start surviving and thriving. Ants need an ant house. Ants have a hierarchical structure. Ants are not cockroaches, basically. Right? You don't just throw them somewhere and they start thriving and surviving as long as they have food. I think some species of bees can elect a new king, a new queen, so to speak. Essentially just promote one of them. But keep in mind, many insects, the queen is anatomically different from the other ones. Like she's physically different, she's bigger. And not just like you can become bigger by eating like a pig. I mean, her entire body structure is different. And in many of those, she's the only one that is fertile. Again, she's anatomically, the other ones are sterile. She's anatomically different. So just plopping a couple ants in a different place is not going to create a new ant house. Although to be fair, I don't know all that much about ants, and what I do know is that people often just do exactly that. Pick up a bunch of ants, put down in a glass with sphenically terraria, I think it's there. So, if there's a problem, we're going to take care of that. That's the reason why those bags are not placed inside, because they identified that they had ants and I left them out here. All this food, much like that day in the bus stop, remember? On the guy, the bus company crime, another bus company crime. Now, one thing I actually think is pertinent to say, which is there are people here that probably don't know thoroughly detail about this crime, and just knowing me doesn't mean you know details about the crime. But that's why the whole concept of coffers is this. And coffers are not even people who know me. Coffers are people who cough. they do minor signs of involvement in this, because I'm already indulging that they don't know what they're doing. But that's pretty minor. No way you can say that after coordinating and doing premeditated work, as you see many of them do, that you're gonna think, have a realistic expectation that you can just tell everybody else, yeah, I know, despite all that, just didn't know. So, again, why we say the concept of COFA is a pretty encompassing number of people. It's very specific as far as what they do, right? But it might not act. Sometimes we can even argue for some COFAs, not all of them, because they are not quite coerced, but they just don't want to have this thing happen to me, which it's a double-edged sword. But again, they do what they do. It's not my point. I'm just pointing that. Clearly emphasizes how much knowledge and the seriousness of this it has, that you'll be fearing that if you don't behave in a particular way, you are going to be targeted. Other than some war crime zones and, very peculiar type of autocracy, we don't see those things happen very often. Particularly through hate crimes, right? Like if you don't commit a hate crime against a certain type of group, that you yourself are going to be targeted. That's essentially what they're saying, right? If that's the point. So take from that what you will. I can testify that I noticed a couple times. Now they're very cowardly. They should be taken into consideration to a certain degree as well. But seeing the things you see, would you feel like if you're aware of that, would you not be concerned? And again, now the issue is, at some point you need the boogeyman to be real, right? Because that only makes sense if you have a very coordinated, centralized structure. And for what they think that it is going to happen, that's why we're showcasing the things we're showcasing every day. Because let's say that they have a boogeyman that is either a generic boogeyman or no boogeyman at all, then who is doing it? If everybody's doing it, nobody's doing it, right? So it's easy enough to talk about the crimes themselves, but it becomes a bit more complicated when you're talking about coercion and those more targeted things. I'm just seeing a lot of rain passing through, hopefully not falling, as in just hugely picking up a lot of food just spread out all over the place here. Again, I remember last time I checked, put this inside a plastic bag and locked the plastic bag up. When I started doing double knots on the plastic bag, which technically destroys the bag, probably especially if war crimes happening, I will not have the patience to untie the double knot. But, I mean, at some point you need those things to stay closed. I don't know what kind of force keeps opening them. And I imagine at some point it's just something normal, but, it's not being abused all the time. I probably have the patience to untie the double knot. Or do the shoelace for the one you do the shoelace now? No, when actually shoelace, you know what I mean? There's the same knot. It's pretty easy to unbuckle. A lot of food. That's what I thought that they had eaten during the night. Oh, check it out! How long has the screen been locked up like that? The screen was locked up on the face of me, like facing like this. How long has it been like that? I'm gonna check on the video before I upload this. Yeah, throughout this time, and this flips now, when I flip the camera, and it's just facing like that. Okay, give me a second.